time Surah Ikhlas لأرواح المؤمنين والمؤمنات ثواب الفاتحة. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله رب العالمين، والصلاة والسلام على سيدنا ونبينا وحبيب إله العالمين أبي القاسم محمد وعلى آله الطيبين الطاهرين المعصومين، واللعنة على أعدائهم أجمعين من الآن إلى قيام يوم الدين. وقد قال الله تعالى في محكم كتابه الحكيم: ولنبلونكم بشيء من الخوف وجوع ونقص من الأموال والأنفس والثمرات فبشر الصابرين الذين إذا أصابتهم مصيبة فقالوا إنا لله وإنا إليه راجعون. صلوا على محمد. Allah in the Quran has promised that He will test us all. There are certain tests that when they befall us, Allah describes He will test us with hunger, fear, loss of wealth, ourselves and of our children. Some of these tests, when they befall us, the loss is so great that you wonder to yourself, how did time not stop? How did the world keep going? Why didn't everything just end right here? You wonder to yourself, how will the day go on? How will the next moment come? That moment of grief at loss. May Allah never put anyone through such a loss that you've lost a brother, a sister, a child, a parent, someone who you love. When you lose one of these people, you wonder, why did the earth not stop? Why did time not stop? But Allah says, be patient. And those who are patient, for them there are glad tidings, and for them there is a great reward. And there are those who, when difficulty befalls them, they remember Allah and they say, from Allah did we come, and to Allah is our return. To lose one member of a family, one wonders, how will the world continue? How will my day continue? How will tomorrow? Is there a tomorrow after this? But oh Zainab, what is your condition on this night, where you have not lost one, but over 18 members of your family? How did you not wonder that why did time not stop? Why did the world not end? Not only did you lose these family members, you lost them in a way that losing one in this way would be enough for the world to end. You lost Qasim when he was run over by horses. You lost Akbar when they put a spear through his chest. Oh Zainab, you have not even seen Abbas to know what they did to Abbas. The Masa'ib of Shaame Ghariban, the night of strangers, we turn out the lights. We sit in darkness. Why? Because the lights of these personalities have been put out and extinguished in the house of Ahlul Bayt. Those who are left of the Ahlul Bayt sit in darkness, so we sit in darkness. You'll see in Karbala, and here we light candles. That, oh Sayyidah, you may have lost the light of Hussain. We have nothing to offer you. But we can light these candles that maybe in your darkest hour you know that your Shia are with you. The Masa'ib of Sayyidah Zainab begin tonight in a way that one has no patience, or the heart that throat closes mentioning them. You would imagine that Aba Abdullah, laqad qutila al-Hussain, at the sound of this voice, why did the heavens not open and did fall on this earth? Why did the earth not open and swallow humanity? From this moment, the responsibility of Haram-e-Rasul transferred from Aba Abdullah to Zainab. The conditions and difficulties, don't imagine that the intention of the people was just to loot the house of Rasulullah. They wanted to oppress the house of Rasulullah. There are a number of things that happen in Shaame Ghariban that tell you the true intention of these people was nothing but evil. But their intention was not wealth. Their intention was not to prosper from this engagement. Their interest was only the oppression. Why? First and foremost, after Shahadat of Aba Abdullah, they went and desecrated the body of Aba Abdullah. Someone stole his shoes. Someone stole the cap on his head. Someone stole the shield that he had. Someone stole the sword. Someone stole the armor. Someone stole the shirt from the body of Aba Abdullah. One mal'oon, when he could not take the ring from the finger of Aba Abdullah, he cut the fingers of Imam al-Hussain. They moved from here and they called Ahraku Buyut al-Zalimin, burn the houses of the oppressors. One of the ways we know their intention was oppression, the most valuable thing in those tents that existed at that moment was the tent itself. A tent in the desert, in the Arab, in the Hijaz was something valuable. They did not want to preserve these tents. They were not interested in the wealth. They were interested in the abuse of these people that were left. Sayyidah Zainab, knowing that the condition of abuse was upon them, she gathered the women after the call was heard that Imam al-Hussain had been killed, gathered them together and said, give to me whatever wealth you have. We will hand it to them so that they don't abuse us. We'll give them whatever wealth they want. She collected the wealth from every lady and every child, except for one 4-year-old child, who when she said, Sakina, give to me these earrings that you have in your ears, this child replied, oh, Auntie Zainab, I won't give them to you. Sakina, listen, they will take them from you. She says, no, this was the gift from my Baba. I won't give it to anyone. When they come to me, I will tell them that my Baba gave it to me. They'll leave me alone. Auntie, don't torture me. Don't take from me. Sayyidah Zainab says, how do I make this child cry? She says, okay, Sakina, stay with me. Don't go far. They began to burn the tent. The women and children ran in fear from one place to the next, from the next to the next, until only one tent remained. In it was one of the remainders of Nabuwat, Imam Sayyid al-Sajideen. Sayyidah Zainab comes to him and she says, oh my nephew, the mansab of imamat is upon you now. You have begun your matter in an affair of difficulty. Oh Sajjad, they are burning the tents. You are the imam of the time. I want to ask you, oh Sajjad, can we stay in the tents and burn and die? Or do we have to exit to this disgrace? Imam Zainul Abidin replies, oh auntie, it is mandatory in Islam to save the life. We must exit. Sayyidah Zainab takes the children out. Someone asked Imam Zainul Abidin, what was your condition in that time? He replies, our condition was such that the children of Aba Abdullah and Ahlul Bayt became lost in the field of Karbala. If you've ever taken a tasbih and broken a tasbih, the way the beads of a tasbih scatter, that's the way the children of Aba Abdullah and Ahlul Bayt. Some came, their intention was evil. They wanted to cause as much harm as they could. So they stole the chadar off the top of the heads of women by the points of spears. They would strike the head with the spear and pull. They would strike the head with the spear and pull. One small girl, when she came out, a man came, pulled at her ears, ripped both of her ears. This child in shock looked at the man and she said, oh Sheikh, we are of the Banu Hashim. If you would have asked me, I would have given them to you. You did not have to strike me in such a way. In reply to this comment, he struck the base of the child. There is a description that says, on the time of Shahadat of Sakina, there were 3 conditions that were apparent in her body. 1, that her ears were still wounded from the ripping of her ears. 2, that on her face were still the bruises of the smacks. One alim writes, one of 2 conditions happened. Either one, the night after Ashur, they struck this child so hard that the bruises never left her face. Or 2, that this child, whenever she would cry, the Mal'oon was ready to strike her, and they struck her until the day that she died. The 3rd condition, they said that when the tents were burned, the children scattered. Some ran to the tents looking for security. Some ran to the field looking for security. One such child, they described that a young boy who had 2 earrings in his ears ran into the field as the army charged the tents. They saw this child, a Mal'oon says, in front of me, the rider, I saw evil in his eyes. As this child came running in fear, from the fear of the sounds of the horses, he lowered his sword, cut the child in 2, and kept proceeding through the field. Some of the children went and hid in the tents that were on fire. They say in this condition, this little girl, we saw that she was running through the field, but her clothes had caught fire. One mu'arrikh says, I tried to go to put out the fire. As I approached the child, she looked at me, said, Sheikh, don't touch me. I am from the family of Rasulullah. I would rather burn than have one like you touch me. The Sheikh says, my intention, O child, is not to harm you. I just want to put out the fire. She says to the Sheikh, oh Sheikh, are you a Muslim? He says, yes, I am a Muslim. Why does she ask this question? Because a child cannot imagine that a Muslim would behave this way with another Muslim. Oh Sheikh, have you ever read the Quran? He says, yes, I have read the Quran. Why does she ask this child? Because one who does actions like this, how could they have read the Quran? She said, have you heard the verses in the Quran? فَأَمَّا الْيَتِيمَ فَلَا تَقْهَرْ وَأَمَّا السَّائِلَ فَلَا تَنْهَرْ. The orphan, so do not abuse them, and the questioner, do not turn them away without helping them. The Sheikh says, yes, I have. She says, then Sheikh, just answer me one question. He says, what is your question? Which way is the direction of Kufa? Child, why do you want to know where is Kufa? My grandfather Ali ibn Abi Talib is there. I want to complain to him what his nation has done to us. In this condition they came, and Shimr Mal'oon had intention to kill Imam Zainul Abidin. Sayyidah Zainab stood in front of him and said, you cannot touch my nephew. He said, this is one of the sons of Hussain, none shall live. Sayyidah Zainab, sacrificing herself and showing that she is the one in charge, puts herself on the body of Imam Zainul Abidin and makes the statement, if you want to kill him, then you have to kill me. Shimr Mal'oon, if he had no Islam, he thought himself at least an honorable Arab, and said an Arab does not raise his sword on a woman, and he said, you and your nephew are both safe, and he walked away. In this way, Sayyidah Zainab protected Imamat from its first difficulties that happened in that moment. She gathered them together, but the response to this, the frustration of the Mal'ooneen, that one of the sons of Hussein remained alive, that Shimr turned to his companions and said, who will come with me to run horses on the body of Hussein and his companions? They prepared their horses and they gathered together. When they collected the shuhada, someone from the family of each shaheed would come. Hur's army came and made the statement and said that our leader was Hur. We don't allow you to run over his body. Some of the relatives of the mother of Ali and Al-Akbar came and said, Akbar is from us. We don't allow you. Shimr Mal'oon himself said the children of al-Banin are protected. In this way, each of the ashab of Imam al-Hussein, each of the children of Imam al-Hussein, each had someone who came and insisted that, oh Shimr, you will not disgrace our family. You will not run horses over the body of our deceased and those who were killed in this battle, except for 2. One was Aba Abdullah, whose mother had no relation in the army of Umar Sa'ad. And the other, we know from the description, when Imam Zainul Abidin buried the bodies, they came and they said, oh, Ali ibn al-Hussein, we have buried everyone, but there is a lump of flesh in the field of Karbala. We don't know where it belongs. Imam Zainul Abidin cried and said, this is my brother Asghar. Rabab had no one in the army of Umar Asad who was related to her. So when they ran the horses over my father, they ran the horses over my brother Asghar. The body of Abu Abdullah was desecrated. The body of his son was desecrated. Sayyidah Zainab went now as darkness fell and gathered the children. Fidda, it said, went and brought water from the Furat now that it was not forbidden to them. They began to collect the children and give them water. Sayyidah Zainab takes the water and comes to Sakina and says, Sakina, drink. Sakina's first question is, did my uncle Abbas return? Where is my uncle? I want to complain to him. Sayyidah Zainab says, oh Sakina, your uncle has not come. Sakina is the daughter of Abu Abdullah. His children were of the best of akhlaq, which is why Ali al-Akbar said, Alayka minni salam, not salamu alayka ya abata. So that it would not be a difficulty on his father. The same way Sakina now says, Auntie, did you drink water? Sayyidah Zainab replies, no, Sakina, we start with the children, the youngest drink first. So Sakina says, then let me find my Asghar. He was more thirsty than I am. Oh Sakina, the parts of Asghar are in the field of Karbala. In this way, the children were gathered. They were quieted. They were put to sleep. Kulthum and Zainab on this night took the responsibility that would stay with Akbar and Abbas, that would stay with the Banu Hashim. They became the protectors of the children. They went through the field of Karbala. Sometimes they would find a child who had been cut in half. Sometimes they would find a child who had died in the tents when they were burned. Sometimes they would find a child who was trampled in the field. Eventually, when they gathered all of these pieces of the tasbih of the Banu Hashim together, they found that that sakina that they were to take care of was missing. Kulthum turned to Zainab, where do we go in the darkness of Shaame Ghariban? Where shall we look? They started to wander through the fields. Zainab calls out, oh Sakina, answer me. Sakina, answer me. Eventually she proceeds to the Maqtal. She says that in the Maqtal, I saw that I was told by Abu Abdullah, stay quiet, my sister Sakina has just fallen asleep. I went and I found my child holding the feet of Abu Abdullah in the field of Karbala and sleeping. I woke the child, I held her to my chest and I took her away. I said, Sakina, normally we recognize someone by their face. How did you know to go and lie by your father? She says, oh mother, when I went out, I was calling for Baba and I was very sad. I did not know where to go. In the darkness of the night, I started to wander out calling for my father. But as I would walk every so often, I would trip and fall, and that would make me sadder, and I would cry out harder. What was Sakina tripping and falling over? She is in the Maqtal. This is where the Shuhada are spread. Sakina trips over the Shuhada, calls out, Baba, why don't you answer me? Eventually she says, Baba, call to me, Sakina. Ilayya, ilay. Come to me here. Come to me, my child. Sakina, you normally lied on the chest of your father. You were holding his feet. Atya, there was no chest left for me to lie on. The children were collected. This night of Masaib is one where Imam Zainul Abidin makes the statement. He says, my aunt Zainab never missed Salatul Layl. But I tell you, the night after Ashura was the only time in my life that my aunt did not have the strength to stand up to pray. She sat and she prayed. When she completed her prayers, the narration says famously that Zainab took the responsibility to protect this camp. She called out the way Hussain called out that why does no one see my bravery in the battlefield? Akbar, why don't you come and watch your father's battle? Now Zainab called out, Akbar, why don't you see the bravery of your aunt Zainab? Come and see that tonight I am the one who is the himaya and the guard over these women and children. Abbas, you used to take pride in standing in front of us. Now Zainab stands in front. Why don't you come and see the bravery of Zainab? In this condition, it said that a rider, a faras, came from far away. And because the desert is an open land, you can hear someone coming from a distance. In the famous narration, Sayyidah Zainab, when hearing a rider coming in the distance, assumed this is another of the army who wants to loot them. She says, "Oh Sheikh, we have been robbed already. There is nothing left in our camp." The rider kept coming. She called out again, "Oh rider, oh faras, if you want, come in the morning and rob us again. You can see I'm not lying to you." At some distance, she called out and said, "Faras, stop where you are. Don't proceed further. Our children have gone through great difficulty. Leave us alone tonight." The Farah stopped and he says, "I have known the family you are from. There used to be a leader of your clan who would stand in front. Where is that leader now?" He was talking about Abu al-Fadl. She says, "That one, they have cut his arms and he has fallen asleep by the Furat. He is no more. Your house was a house of generosity and many brave young men. They used to come to look at the one who looked like Rasulullah in your house. Where is he now?" "Oh Sheikh, they put a spear in his chest. He fell in a way that no one should ever have their son fall. He is no more." He said, "There was a Sheikh al-A'ila, there was the leader of your family who was a very generous man from the children of Rasulullah. Where is he now?" She says, "Oh Sheikh, don't ask me about my brother. He was thirsty for 3 days. He buried his friends and his brothers and his children, and then they desecrated his body. Sheikh, you seem to know a lot about my family. Are you from our well-wishers? Do we know of you? Are you someone who is our friend?" The Sheikh removed the cloth from his face. He called out, "Zainab, it is I, your father." Zainab collapses. "Baba, I called you so many times. Why didn't you come sooner? When they ran horses over Qasim, when they killed Akbar, when Abbas would not return to us, Baba, I called you so many times. Why did you not come when our Hussain was alone and surrounded by an army? Baba, they raised his head on a spear. I called you so much." Matem ya Hussain.
And make lines, please. Ya Hussein. बाद में. Ya Hussein. Ya Hussein. ये शाम गरीबां है, दरिया की रवानी है. ये शाम गरीबां है, दरिया की रवानी